Good evening and salutations, my B&B fans. Carter and Paris served no purpose today. All they did was the exact same things that they did yesterday. They talked for a little bit, and then they had sex. And today, they talked for a little bit. Today they had sex, and then they talked, and then they had sex again. Um, and it's really, granted, there's a lot of stupidness in it, but the fact that Carter, after they had sex, Carter was like, what are we doing? We shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be doing this. Bro, you've been practically having sex with this woman for about like 40 minutes, and you're still sitting there saying stupidness like, we shouldn't be doing this. I, it seems like that makes it so hard for me to sit there and get invested in these two characters. On top of the fact that Paris pretty much just didn't take no for an answer. And I already went over that, I think, yesterday. So I'm not going to really kind of rehash that. But, Paris pretty much says the exact same thing that she's been saying um, since Carter half-ass tried to, end it with her. We're free now. There's nothing that can sit there and stop us. Zenday's not there going out with somebody else. We're a perfect match. Blah, 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 blah. Now, if Carter, once again, would have just been like, well, here's the thing. There is one thing that can possibly stop us, and that's your mom, as far as getting me fired. That's kind of a, deterrent in whatever we're going to sit there and do for the future. I mean, this guy is literally sitting there just hanging out, having a good time, just kissing on her, and on top of the world, like, Paris like, oh, nothing can stop us, nothing can get out of the way. And, Carter's just sitting there kissing, like, bro, I guess reality is going to sit there and hit you Monday morning when you actually go back to work. You remember that place, right? It's kind of weird because you've been just banging this woman for the last past 40 minutes or 2 days, but it's like reality is just non-existent until he puts on some clothes, and then he actually has to realize that he still actually go to work, and then the looming threat is going to be right there waiting because quote unquote Grace is keeping an eye on him. I, these two characters make it where it's like it makes me feel like I'm not taking this review seriously. And granted, I'm supposed to have fun and stuff like that, but it's so hard when you have idiotic characters like those two. So, Sheila, for the past 2 days, has been rubbing it in Brooke's face about her failings and her marriage and how it's over and she's all alone and that she wasn't going to be, she wasn't such a mean girl and, trying to stop Sheila from, seeing her son and her grandchildren or her grandchild. Then, Carmen wouldn't have hit her so hard. And meanwhile, Brooke is like, yeah, okay, cool. You going to get out? Get out. You're just going to ignore me at this point. There's a one point where, Brooke does something. I don't know if she like taps her on the nose or whatever, but I'm not gonna lie. The minute that she puts her hand, that she Brooke put her hands on Sheila was like, "Yo, you do that again. You put your hands on me one more time, and it's gonna be the last time you ever do that." Now, granted, I'm like, all right, so let me get this straight. This woman just walked on in your place, wouldn't leave, and then threatened. I'm pretty sure you have grounds for calling the cops and filing a police report. We're not gonna do that. No, we're just gonna let a psychopath continue to threaten you in your own home. Good plan. But finally, she leaves. And nothing really comes from it. Now, Ridge and Taylor didn't really talk about um, much of anything of importance. They just got there and they kissed. And there's a point where Taylor is, talking to someone, and Brooke walks in, and Taylor's like, "Yo, you can't just be walking up in here like that. Like, what's the matter with you?" They get arguing and stuff like that. And Brooke is all like, my husband. I'm not gonna sit there and let you take my husband away. He's my husband. And I sat there like, Brooke, she didn't exactly take your husband away. You more or less kind of gave your husband away when you did what you did. And granted, well, the whole drunkenness and everything like that, I could sit there and be like, all right, you didn't plan that. That's not something that you would have did if you were sober. But you're inviting him over to the house um, after he specifically said, after Rick said, don't do that. Yeah, that's on you. That's on you. He got way too comfortable. He did get too comfortable just walking in there. Um, so that is on Brooke, and that's something that Taylor did sit there and say, like, really, really, you gonna put this on me? And of course, she calls her out for the same patterns over and over again. Brooke is not there cheating. Some guy's not there giving her attention. The usual stuff that Brooke has been doing over the years. And yeah, I know Ridge is not a saint. I get it. Um, Now there is something that Brooke said that was on point to some extent. After she was like, your kids been have been snipped there poisoning Ridge's mind and goading him to sit there and be with you. Brooke was like, you took advantage of him while he was at his lowest point. And to some extent, she's not wrong, but at the end of the day, Ridge did make a choice. Ridge did make a choice. He chose to sit there. After listening to his kiss, he chose to sit there and kiss her and sit there and say, "Oh, you always been good to me, this, that, and the third," and start making out with her and everything like that. Like, he chose that. He's a grown ass man. He made his choice. You can't sit there and say, "Oh, you seduced him or you took advantage of him." I mean, yeah, maybe Taylor could have been like, listen, this just happened. You're still married. Maybe we shouldn't be sitting there making out yet until you start to go through the process of divorcing her. You know, so yeah, a little decorum on Taylor's part would have went a long way, especially for somebody who comes across as very proper and very, you know, I wasn't to say posh, but like very proper and very always nice and doing good works and helping other people and just being a good person. But yet, when it came time to be a good person, you were just like, no, I want what I want. You could have gave it time. You could have gave him space. You could have practically told your children, hey, as a grown ass man, you guys need to sit there and just kind of back off. That's something else that is really apparent in the show, or I guess in the storyline, is that the kids need to stay in their place. And I know they're adults, but they're technically, their kids. Brooks, like Hope, Steffi, and Thomas. They all need to just back the hell off and give their parents some breathing room. So, once again, Hope had this crackheaded idea of having Deacon talk to Ridge, to try to sit there and save their marriage. And this is after this is after Deacon's like, you remember what happened the last time we were in the same room together, right? And for some odd reason, she still thinks that this is a good plan. Up to the point where after that happens, she goes back home, she talks to Liam, and she tells Liam, oh yeah, I got Deacon. I asked Deacon to talk to Ridge about trying to fix his marriage with my mom. And Liam was like, I'm sorry, what? What did you say? And even though, here's the thing, even the way that Hope said it, she knew just how much of a crackheaded idea that was. She said, oh, like, yeah, and I did that, and I told my dad to sit there and talk to Ridge. And Liam at one point was like, you do remember what happened the last time they got in the same room, right? And she's like, and I'm, I'm looking at her shaking her head. I was like, and you thought that was a good idea, right? Oh my god. I can't make this up. I really can't. I wish I could sit there and say, I made this up. I lied and I made this whole scene up. But no, no. The thing is, I try not to even, it's not like I'm trying to be funny, but it writes itself. She acknowledges how, not just far, she acknowledges how much of a bad idea it was to get them in the same room. And she was like, yeah, and I still did it because it was like a smart idea. And you're a goddamn idiot. Okay, cool. That's whatever. Um, that's what Deacon does. Deacon walks in there, and Rich is like, what are you doing here, and why do we have security for? So after Deacon says his piece, and he's like, "Yo, listen, you need to sit there and get back together with Brooke. Um, what we had was just a kiss, didn't mean anything, and she wants to be with you and not me." And of course, this is after Rich is calling him names and everything like that. Um, but Deacon did kind of point out, like, "Yo, bro, maybe you don't want to go back to her. I mean, you ran as fast as hell to tell her." I don't think that was the entire case, but I can understand how one can make. I understand how one can make that argument. Um, yeah. Anyway, I think that's pretty much about it. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.